And welcome back. We got a new project right now. I picked up some 40 IDFs, twins, and basically they're China based also. And I got them on Amazon for like 70 bucks. Can't go wrong with that, right? Well, I mean, what could go wrong for 70 bucks, man? Carburetors that normally cost $400 a piece, 70 bucks. What could go wrong? Anyways, these are from Amazon, and basically the seller is all carb. So if you want to pick up a set from them, I will tell you that they're for China. They're very high quality. They really are. I was shocked. I was like, wait, what? These are China? Like they even had the good bearings in there on the shafts, the real good bearings. Like what? Yeah, it was like that. So everything I checked on it, everything checked out perfect. Like everything was perfect. It was even the interior was even clean. Okay, cool. Anyways, from what I can tell, these are not like Weber IDFs. These are like a different variation of Weber IDFs. They have the idle drilling is completely different from the standard IDF. So I don't know how those perform or anything. So I think I'm going to be having fun jetting this thing. Other than that, the quality is really good. I mean, so let's go to the bench and just play with it. All I can tell you is the difference really is just the idle. It's normally on the very bottom, and it's about 17 millimeters higher. It basically gets fuel from the middle of the emulsion tube. What? I got my 40 IDFs, which is the correct size for my 2-liter Type 4 engine on my Green Beetle. Here's the thing. These idle screws are getting fuel from a different location. Okay. So originally, the other IDFs from Sherberry, they get the fuel from here. From this height, from the carburetor, okay, right there. Okay, there's no drilling, obviously, there. It actually gets the fuel from this height, which is 7 millimeters higher. Now, but it's getting fuel from the emulsion tube, from here, in this area. Okay, so the drilling is right here. Let me see if I can. Oh my god. See if I can get some light in there. There it is. Right there. Okay. So it's getting fuel from about this height. Okay. So it's inside here. Versus the other one gets the fuel from down here, below this area. Interesting. Okay, so we're going to see how that runs. I don't know if it's going to run good. So I'm going to leave it that way. Now, I also noticed that the air corrector, right there, is at 0.50. It's upside down. But yeah, it's 0.50 instead of 1 millimeter. So I'm assuming it's because while it's getting fuel from here, that means it's aerated. You know, it's an air corrector. It's being aerated. So this one needs to be able to suck more fuel out of here. Thus, they lower it from 1 millimeter down to 0.5 millimeter. This little jet right there, air corrector for the idle. That is so interesting. I didn't. Okay, cool. Whatever. I'm going to test it and see how that runs. I've already check to see my bearings because I bought a new set. Where is it? Yeah. Bought brand new. Those are 607s RS. Okay. Best bearings for IDFs. Turns out that these carburetors already come with that exact bearing. 607 RS.
and they are tight, good and tight. Okay, there is no slop, no slop. So this carburetor seller did the right thing and got real IDF bearings, like the way they should be. Normally, this is what they put in there. 607s ZZ, which are metallic right here. The problem with these is that these leak dust into the bearing housing. So eventually these end up freezing. They're junk, basically. Within like 2 months of daily use, they're done. Versus these RSs that are sealed with a real seal. A real rubbery seal. Okay. So, oh my God, these guys are awesome. Oh my God, whoever these carburetor guys are, I'm giving them thumbs up so far. Now, I was just checking my throttles, making sure they're perfect. So I went ahead and, just in case, went ahead and reset the whole throttle system. You know, making sure that they close at the same time. They're not off by any degree. Also made sure that this was perfectly centered while these 4 screws were loose. So made sure this was perfectly centered because it will bind here and here if they're not perfectly centered. So very careful what you guys, when you're, what do you call it? Calibrating your carburetors. Make sure it's perfectly centered. All right. So now, we're going to go ahead and basically just put it all back together. I mean, I could add Loctite to one bearing so that the throttle doesn't do this, because it's going to do that. Okay? And that catastrophic wear is going to happen right on these edges. And these edges right here, they're going to wear out right there and over here. They're going to wear out right there, because that's where they're going to be hitting when the throttle is open. It's going to be doing that shit, you know. And basically, that'll make one just stick in one location so it doesn't do this. So if you find one that's doing it just a little bit, like just a hair dinky, add some Loctite right there. Let it dry, and then the next day put it together. Let it dry overnight. So right now I am, oh my God, I can't believe they're this good. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and calibrate the float. It's calibrated to 13, and I think it's because it's grabbing fuel on the idle 7 millimeters higher, which means the float needs to be a little higher, so that you have more fuel inside the fuel bowl. Okay, but besides that, okay, this is a 50. This is a 50. Air corrector is a 50. Air corrector is a 50. The pump jet squirter is a 50. And it's a 50. I already checked all of that. So that is done. Oh my God. And these are good and tight. Good and tight. They're not all over the place. The pump, I already checked. There is no slack right here. The diaphragm immediately gets pushed in. So whoever calibrated it from here, he did an awesome job. It's like, damn, these guys are good. I'll put the description on the sellers of these carburetors down there, so you can get at least something, you know, really high quality at a very low, affordable buck. I can't believe I got these for like, I think it was, each one was like $79 each one. And it even came with the horns, the velocity stack horns. Not that I can't use them, because of the filter top would be about this high, maybe half an inch. So I can't use these. And the thing is, I would never use these because without air filters, because you're gonna get air sucking through here, and dirt is gonna go in there. It's gonna wind up in your bowl, and then it's gonna end up here on your idle, plugged up. Oh no. Yes. So I see a lot of guys on bug shows, or people showing off, and they've got these visible. I'm going, oh, you're in for a world of hurt once you get one little dust particle going into into here, and then up right here, and then it ends up eventually here. World of hurt, but that's how they learn, right? Right. They don't know any better. Okay, so other than that, everything seems to be perfect. I'm just gonna make sure that these are seated all the way down. This one and this one. We're just gonna loosen and check that they're all the way down. This is an air leak you create intentionally if you're having problems calibrating your throttles, or one of the throttles might be so out of whack that you need to open. Maybe this one is out of whack, it's too much air is leaking. Then this one you would open up a little bit to have the same amount of air going through these throttles. But that's usually an indication that one of the throttles is completely worn on the sides, and that's why it's sucking too much air. Anyways, okay, I'm moving on. This is where I'm going to get my vacuum signal here and here. I already have my own takeoff vacuum ports that I'm going to be screwing on. I'm going to swap them from my old carburetors that I'm running right now, the 44 IDFs, and swap them over here to these 40 IDFs. No more 44s for me. Okay, everything else appears to be perfect, except I need to swap out my Venturis to 32s because these are 28s. But other than that, I can't believe how nice these carburetors are. I'm just boggled. Oh my God. Anyways, link down there. Okay, here's a 44 IDF. I just want to go over this real quick. But basically, okay, this is where the drillings are. Okay, I had already fucked with this one on that drilling. Originally, that's where the drillings are for this guy to take fuel. Okay, they moved that actually to this top one right there. I think I fucked up a little while ago, and I said it was this one right here. No, this one is also drilled. See, drilled. This is the 44 IDF. See, okay. This 40 IDF. Okay, that one's not drilled. Normally it is. And it's drilled right there. Okay. That goes to the middle of the emulsion tube area right here. And I wonder if you can see it. No, maybe I could get a flashy lighty. No. The camera's just too in the way. Oh, you can barely see it. Oh my God. It's reflecting back a little bit. Okay, anyways. The important part is this. That new drilling is exactly right here. I made a Sharpie line right there. Goes in, takes fuel from here instead of down here, which normally fuel would go in there, all the dirt would go in there, and basically it gets ingested by the idle, which travels this way and then goes up. Okay, that's because they're using the same circuit. This one is basically the same thing. It's just using a different height. Instead of being down here, it's up here. So this one's below the main. This one's inside the main, behind the main, or on top of the main, in the basically the emulsion tube right around here. Oh, okay. Anyways, I just wanted to check that, compare it with this and this. So that's what's going on. These are interesting carburetors, I'll say that. So I went ahead and added Loctite on these. Fuck it. On the 40 IDF, the other 40 IDF that I was showing you a little while ago. Okay, this is the second carburetor. Everything's identical like that. So now I'm going to check to see if the bearings are exactly the same, or are we running the shitty shit. So I'm going to check these real quick. I'm not going to show you the video because unless we have shitty bearings, then we'll come back. But other than that, I'm just checking the float, and it's exactly the same as this one. This one's set at 13 millimeters. 13 millimeters when it's on its side. Okay. Right there. Paper to the bottom of the float. 13. I think they're running 13 because I think the fuel needs to be up higher for the new position of the fuel, of the new intake of fuel for the idle. It's higher, so you need more fuel, obviously. So, all right, we're gonna run it like that because I don't know what it's gonna do. I just want to see. I'm curious, so I'm gonna go ahead add my new Venturis. So they go from 28 to 32s, and I'm gonna calibrate my throttles, check for the bearings, possibly add Loctite. Depends on if there's a little slack. That one had a almost undetectable up and down, but it was there. It was like, I'm a perfectionist, and so I had to just add Loctite to both bearings, then make sure everything was calibrated. Calibrated everything before the Loctite set in. So once it sets, you're fucked. Okay, anyways. So do that at your own risk. This is the only issue that I found with the carburetors. It's these fuel exhaust valve, or should I say fuel delay squirt valve. That's what I call them, because that says what it's actually doing. It's also exhausting fuel into the fuel bowl, I get it, but that tells you nothing what it's doing to the carburetor as performance. So this is a fuel delay squirt valve. Okay, anyway, so 55 is standard. We need to push that keeper in the center 1 millimeter down to decrease the chance of a hesitation. So we're going to go ahead and do that on these two carburetors. That's the only fault that I found on these carburetors so far. Everything is impeccable. I can't believe it. Wow. I'm like, wow. And this, obviously, they're probably always going to give you a 55. So hesitation guaranteed. So I'm going to go ahead and remove it. Now, when I said hesitation guaranteed, I'm not talking about those race engines that are running rich idle and rich mains. All they care about is wide open throttle, being in the power area of your fuel ratio, which would be 1280 to 1310, somewhere around there. Wide open throttle. That's all they care. They hit that area. Once they hit that area, they don't care about the idle being lean so that it doesn't stink like a stink bug. And, they don't care about that, okay? This will allow you to lean your idle down so that you have really good gas mileage and a real good takeoff. Because if you lean it out without, pressing that keeper down 1 millimeter, you'll get a hesitation when you lean it out. When you're going, when you're cruising and stuff, you'll get that little hesitation. Okay, I'm moving on. I'm going to press this in 1 millimeter. Okay, so that's how much I pressed it down. You can see how deeper that is. So we're going to use Z caliper. See how that works out. Just got to get it in there. And then I just push it in, stops, and we check our measurement, which is 97 is good enough for me, good enough for gun work. That is very close to 1 millimeter. I'm calling it. Do not go over 103 or 105. Between 103 and 105, that's probably too much. So what's going to happen is your pump diaphragm is going to be starving for fuel when you're laying off the throttle. When you're returning your throttle back, it's going to be starving for fuel. So you don't want to do that. So just keep it close to 100. Okay, so 0.98, that's good. Or that was 97, but it changed. Whatever. Okay, I'm done. We're moving on to the next carburetor. We're doing the exact same thing. And this is the trick to put it back on. Just use the old piece of vacuum hose, and you just put it in. I can't see what I've done. I was actually using the camera to guide myself, but yes, this can be done when your carburetor's still in your car, and basically you can use that trick to put them on with that, even when you're still full of fuel. And these are the 44 IDFs that I've been running on the Green Beetle, the 2-liter engine, the Porsche engine. These have been modified. We separated the circuits and they drive like a dream. Oh my God, they drive like a dream, but it still has the problem of when you're in cruise, if I open my throttle just a little too much, it will go super rich. So this is because these carburetors are too big for the 2-liter engine. These are 44s. They should be 40s. Here's my new 40s China carburetors. These I bought from Amazon. I think Carburetor Specialist or something like that. I don't remember the exact name, but the link will be down there if you guys are interested. And these are like, oh my God, they're built very well. Quality, I could tell there was quality. Somebody was assembling these carburetors and knew exactly how to do it. So I'm very, very pleased. So far, I've got my reversed my fueling nipples. Yeah, I just said that. So that I have them pointing in the right direction, like these. See, pointing that way, and then sorry, and then that one pointing that way. That way they have the same location because they can be reversed. I think this one was over here and this over here, so we got that fixed. Anyway, we're going to head and remove the Venturis, the 32 millimeter Venturis for my 2-liter engine, and put them on these 40s. These are 28s. They come from factory like that. So we're going to remove the 28s and put in these 32s in here because that's what my 2-liter engine requires. So we're just going to do that, and we're going to put them together. We're going to run them. So I already removed the squirters, these things for the secondaries, and these locks for that hold in the Venturis. Okay, this is 28, like I said, and this one for the 40. These are 32, so I should be over 2. Yeah, there it is. So we're just going to swap it over to this. Yes, they're interchangeable, luckily. And I just have to line up that little dimper with that little hole and then push it down. And then if it doesn't line up, just turn it with your fingers, you know, either way until it lines up. Okay, so. Oh, there you go. Right there. So I'm going to put the lock on and then continue to the next one. Okay, so here's my vacuum ports that I made out of an antenna. Damn! And I just drilled that thing and soldered the antenna because it's made out of copper from the inside, and just soldered it. It's all beat up because I've been taking them off on and off and stuff. So that's me with these pliers crushing them accidentally. Whoops! But they still work. So basically I just removed those right there, and this just goes right here. There you go. See? Bam. All done. Vacuum reference. Done. All right. So I'm going to do the exact same thing to the other carburetor. It's running really good. I've already calibrated the flows with the little adapt little flow thingy. Anyway, this throttle is opening too early, so I have to adjust it just by spinning it. Right about there. Let me see. It's still opening. Right there. Yeah, it's right there. So I'm gonna tighten that. 40 IDFs done. So now I have to test them. The jetting that came with those carburetors were actually almost a mirror of the jets that I was running on the 44s. So I have a feeling that they're going to be perfect, but I have to, you know, drive it. Okay, one thing that I noticed also with these 40s is that my Y-band is actually able to run leaner without any pops. Carburetors are not popping when cold, so that's a plus, right? So I need to test, I need to drive it, see what it does. Going for a drive. Oh, nasty hesitation. All right, we got something wrong here. Okay. Okay. I think I know what's wrong. I left the air corrector 200. Oh yeah. I mean, look at the Y band. 17, 18. Okay. So yeah, the air corrector is too far away. I need to lower it to like 180 instead of 200. Okay, so if I stay in the primary area of the throttle, it runs perfect. Perfect takeoff. It's when I get into the slighter, wide open throttle, not a wide open throttle, but partially open throttle, where I'm actually requesting fuel from the main. Okay, we got no fuel. We got fuel, but it's too lean. So we're going to definitely increase the amount of fuel for the main. But I think the main itself is actually perfect, so I'm not going to touch it. I'm just going to add more fuel by lowering my air corrector from 200 to 185, more or less. So basically, it turns out that my mains were actually too thin. It turned out that on the 44s, I was actually running 200s, and just like the new 40s, 200s. So instead, I went ahead and changed the mains, because the mains, I measured them that I was running on the 44s, and they measured at 123, 1.23 on the measuring scale in millimeters. And the 40 IDFs, they were measuring at 114, or we'll call them 115s because they're stamped 115s, but they were measuring at 114. So that would be like a 9.8 to 9 point difference. And yeah, that'll definitely give you a hesitation. So let's go try it again. So I gave it fuel and stabbed it, and it fell flat on its face. It almost stalled. So I'm thinking I'm probably gonna have to lower the air corrector also. But it's not the idle. The idle is idling perfect. It's running a 50 or a 0.50 millimeter. Okay, wide open throttle is perfect. I don't have to add more fuel. It's perfect. Okay, so it went to 1281, which is where you want to be when you hit wide open throttle at high RPM, meaning just before the red limiter, you should be hitting what do you call it, 1280 to 13.1 is the target you want to hit. Usually I try to hit it just a hair below 13 on this guy. Oh, that's weird. Okay. Oh my God, are we gonna have to drill these fuckers? Look at, I'm just cruising. It is at stinking rich. Okay, so whatever. We'll fix that later. It'll get fixed as we go along. All right, so now we need to know why it falls flat on its face. Okay, so I went ahead and dropped down the air corrector from 200 all the way down to 175. I know it's a drastic drop, but it was a nasty hesitation. So so I might have to drop the what do you call it? I might have to drop the mains from 123s down to 120s. I'm gonna say somewhere between 117 and 123. I'm sorry, 117s to 120. All right. Oh, it just bucked like a bucking bronco. Okay, I think idle was too low when I stabbed it, because it didn't do it that time. So right there, I'm gonna, okay, no, yeah, when I did it over there, the RPMs were like too close to 1,000 RPMs when I stabbed it. So that's understandable why it would go, Okay, we're gonna do a pull and see if our Y band is still you know, 1280 at wide open throttle, high RPM. I don't think so. It's gonna drop into the 1213s probably. 1213s. 1210s to 1230, because the main is too big for that air corrector. Okay, let me see. I'm gonna go wide. Okay, all right. That was 1270. We're just a hair rich on the main. So I'm gonna leave it right there. Oh, check it out. I'm gonna do it again. Oh, bucking bronco, bucking bronco. I know what's causing it. I know what's causing it now. It's actually what I suspected was going to happen, and it's proving to be correct. Right now, I got too much fuel, and I got a ridiculous air corrector, and the engine is starving for fuel. Okay. All right. So I might have to drill up my squirters a little bit bigger. Yeah, the squirters. They're probably too small. Or I'm gonna use my old ones and put them on this, so I don't have to drill anything. Because it's the same engine. You know what I'm saying? So I'll probably do that. So I'm gonna have to open up my carburetors right now. So I'm showing you this because I want you to get an idea on how to calibrate these things. They're not, like I said, you can't just run them out right out of the box, okay? Okay, so these were supposedly, well, that one, can't read it no more. This one, 55. You can barely see it, 55. Pump jets, okay? These little jets. They're 55s, and obviously we have a nasty flat spot, so basically we went to 60s. So that's what it's asking for. We're giving it 60s. I am also replacing my little exhaust fuel valve, or should I say delay squirt valve, to the zeros that we did 1 millimeter on the little keeper down also. The difference between the zeros and the other ones, it doesn't have that little bleed hole on the side. So that means more fuel to the squirter. So that's the only difference. But the other ones should work okay, I guess. Okay, so now that we got that done, what I'm doing is, I want you to see this. Look at the fuel exhaust valve. I'm barely gonna crack it, and there should be like a distortion in the field of the water. You should feel the distortion in the field. Anyways, it should be a little, right where the little hole is on the exhaust valve. There should be something. Oh, you see that? Okay, show you how much I did. Only did that much. Okay. That tells me that the diaphragm is actually perfectly calibrated. You do not need to go any further with the adjusting the little nut counterclockwise to the pump. Okay. So that tells me that carburetor is instantaneous when I do the little cracking the throttle. On this one, well, I need to put the valve back on. I still haven't done that. I'm going to do that right now. Okay, so that kind of helped. But look at how rich it's running just on idle when you're cruising. Wide open throttle drops down to 1265 more or less. So it's slightly rich on the wide open throttle, but it's running like shit. Fueling is running like shit. So I might have to drill this fucker to get it to work normal. Well, all right, I'm pretty much gonna stop tuning. I think I know why it's doing what it's doing. It's basically the it just goes lean when you throttle a little hard. If you throttle slow, it's perfectly fine. But if you throttle really fast, yeah, there's a pop. See now? Okay. I'm just studying this whole thing. It's idling perfect. I mean, look. But there's a lack of fuel when I throttle hard. If I throttle slow, I'm fine. And then it runs really pig rich. So we're gonna have to probably drill it and turn it into the 44 IDFs, separate the circuits. The same thing is happening. When I throttle hard, there's too much vacuum inside the emulsion tube, and it's pulling fuel away from the idle. So it goes extremely lean. At least that's what I'm determining so far. Now I want to see what it does on the freeway, cruising on the freeway. I suspect it's not gonna be good. Yeah, there's too many hesitations. Way too much hesitation between the main and the idle. The transition is fucked. If I throttle slowly, it's fine. If I throttle hard, it's not that good. Okay, I just throttled really hard onto the freeway. It definitely drops down to 1280-ish. So fueling is perfect for wide open throttle. It's just that, oh my God, that's horrible. Look at, this is what I'm running on the freeway. Okay, I had to lay off the gas right now. Let me go back up to speed. Oh, look at that, look at that. The idle and the main are fighting for fuel. The idle and the main are fighting for fuel. Look at that, look at that, look at that. I'm giving it fuel. Or throttle. I was giving it throttle. Horrible. Okay. Let's see. That's only 70. Look at that. Okay. So right there, the idle is over fueling. But when I ask more main fuel, the fight between the idle and the main circuit, basically it's a fight, and the main always wins. No matter what I do, it's gonna run like shit. Look, giving it gas right there. Look, it's not recovering. It's not recovering. Wider open, okay. It fixes itself. Even more wider open, even better. Okay, but that's crazy fast. Oop, you didn't see that. All right, I'm done with the assessment of these 40 IDFs, the way they've been drilled. My conclusion is it's a racing carburetor. A racing carburetor. It's not for daily. So we're gonna have to drill these fuckers, just like we did the IDFs, 44s. All right.
Okay, this is pretty much the end of this video. I've determined that these carburetors are basically HPMX. That. Okay. These are the jetting is a little different. Now I don't have any experience with those, so I can't make conclusions that are fact. However, what I learned is pretty much this. These carburetors, because they're running the air corrector on the idle. It's basically a half a millimeter, or 0.50 millimeters. that is an indication that these carburetors are not for the street. Okay, there is absolutely no way you're going to get a good stoichiometric ratio for fuel mileage. It's not going to happen. Not with that size air corrector on the idle. Okay. So I determined that I'm moving away from this. It's just a big waste of time. However, I will tell you that I suspect that the main should be maybe 130. So I'll fatten it up from 123 to 130. That should get it closer to the idle so that the flat spot disappears. So I'm pretty confident that I can make it disappear. However, just the fact that it's gonna run fat on cruise, like your ratio. Well, my ratio right there was running at between 1080 to 1120. I mean, that is, black smoke coming out of a tailpipe situation. However, I could have lowered it, the idle jet down to maybe 40 or 45. That would probably help it, and then increase the main to maybe 135, and maybe that would help. But you're getting into ridiculous sizes of jettings. Air corrector, I would probably bring it up from 175 again to increase it back to the stock the way I got them, 200s, maybe 220s, to fix the whole fueling curve. But that's where I'm at. I don't want to continue with this because I already know that this setup is not made for the street. They're not daily drivers, okay? These are HPMX carburetors. China. From China. However, the quality of these HPMX carburetors is impeccable, okay? I got these from Amazon. I think it's All Carbs. That's the name of the seller, All Carbs, from Amazon, for like $70 a piece. Can't go wrong with that kind of quality. Wow. Okay, these carburetors, I would suggest that these are good for the sand dunes, maybe short track, stuff like that. Okay, but these are not streetable. Technically, you could run whatever you want on the street, but people behind you are gonna smell you. Okay, they're gonna smell you and go, oh yeah, it's this stink bug. All right. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna drill them. I just gave up on that, and I'm just gonna do exactly the way the 40 IDFs that I was running, and they were running beautifully. But we're going with 40s to see if we have even a better improvement in drivability. The 44 IDFs with the twin circuits, because we separated the single circuit on the 44s, they were running absolutely beautiful with two circuits. I want to see if that trend continues to this, because supposedly the smaller the carburetor, or when you size it to the engine, this is a 2-liter, these are 40 IDFs. They supposedly is a better signal when it comes to the vacuum, which gives you better everything. Okay, better everything. So don't go with big carburetors. Size the carburetor to your engine size. Okay, don't make that mistake of getting bigger carburetors. Bigger is not better. Okay, it's how you use the tool. I'm just saying. Sorry about that. That sounded nasty. Okay, I'm moving on. Basically, we're going to do the same thing to these carburetors. I'm going to go ahead and plug them up and separate the circuits, and then drill it, and then drill it some more, and then we're going to plug them. And that should get us a twin circuit instead of a single circuit. All right. That is it, muchachos and muchachas. I'm out of here.
Just drilling them to 100. There we go. Yeah, we just drilled those up from 50 to 100, or 1 millimeter. So it was 0.50 millimeters, and now it's a 100, or 0.1. I'm sorry, 1. I'm going to shut up.